Hi, good evening. We'll just begin straight with questions, if we can. BBC.
Brendan, can I ask your thoughts on how and why that spiralled out the way it did and the impact the red card had on your team tonight?
Well, I think the red card was a big turning point in the game. I think we started well. We started with confidence. Got into some really good areas. Of course, then we then get the man sent off very early, which was a huge disappointment because I didn't feel it was a red card. I think when you watch the images back and you watch the rerun of the action, both players kick each other's feet. And I think the referee's seen that in game time, but then he's asked to go and have a look at it. And then I think the images, the first image he sees, it's not representative of the actual challenge in the game. You know, I think you plant the seed whenever he sees his first image that he sees is with Daizen Maeda's foot up. But that wasn't it wasn't the challenge. And when you watch it, it's a really, really soft red card. Now, for a team like ourselves, coming to here, 11v11, we would have to be at our real max to be looking to get something out of the game. Once it goes so early to 10 versus 11, it becomes a real challenge for us. And obviously, as the game goes on, we tire. And of course, they were scoring from all angles and scored some fantastic goals. But I think the red card makes it really, really difficult for us.
Just on that, are you saying it was maybe a still image that the referee was presented with that you saw? And I saw you at the time. I think you seemed to maybe suggest that the bench of Atletico may have overreacted slightly.
No, listen, they will play the game. They obviously will try and get our player sent off. So that's what you see. But I think if in isolation, when you look at the image, I think, as I said, the referee runs over. His first image that he sees is with Daizen's foot up. But when you actually rerun the incident, that's again, as I said, it's not representative of the actual challenge. He's stretching a little bit, but both players catch each other's feet. It's been easy for Daizen to have gone down and rolled about. So as the referee then changes his mind and sends our player off, which, like I say, at the end, it's a big challenge for us in the game.
Clearly that had a big impact, but could your team maybe have done slightly better at certain moments? For example, the first goal, maybe not clearing your lines as you could.
Yeah, there's no doubt. We have to look at ourselves also. I think, in particular, the first two goals are avoidable. You know, for second phase corner, I think one of them, we shouldn't give away the corner. But in particular, those first two, and especially the timing of the second one, it was poor from our perspective. So we will analyse that and see where we can be better.
Brendan, after 4 games, you've just got 1 point. How do you view the group now?
Well, clearly it's a challenge with Feyenoord. We knew we had to take something from the game this evening, but we Lazio winning as well. I think our objective is, again, with 2 games to go, you know, it's about collating points and see can we improve on last year's points total. I think that's has to be the aim now going forward.
Many teams will come here against a European giant and suffer and lose by a big margin. But how do you make sure that this doesn't affect your players going forward, doesn't scar them? Because, you know, in the end, it was 6-0. It was a tough night out there for them.
Yeah, it won't do. You have to take a game like this here in isolation. You know, with the greatest respect, they get players on different levels to ours. Our guys with 11 need to be at their max, like we seen last week in the 2-2 game. But like I say, you come away and you go to 10 men. It's a real challenge. There's still areas I think we can be better in that moment, but I'm not going to be too critical of the players playing against that level and that quality. And this is a level where the front players in lots of these teams are really, really high level, and I think you've seen that. Great.
Brendan, I know you used the phrase "they will play the game" as such at the red card, but were you slightly disappointed at the reaction of the bench and the players? Because The referee seemed fine with it until that happened. You looked incensed anyway when you went across your technical area.
Yeah, listen, it's still up to the ref, Craig. I think as you come away into Europe and a place like this here, where it's an emotional stadium and everyone will add pressure. But like I say, the referee, I think, seen it in game time and didn't deem it worthy of anything so serious. But yeah, it just feels like a computer game now. Football, you know, we so many visits to the screen, so many influences in the game, and of course for a team like ourselves that is really at the fingertips at this level, for us to lose the player in such a manner when it wasn't, then I'm disappointed with that.
Brendan, a lot of teams would have gone ultra defensive or tried to go ultra defensive when they lose a man so early. You didn't seem to want to do that, and you still had a kind of commitment to two men up front. Was that just the way you would always approach a game? Yeah.
I think, listen, you've seen my teams enough back home, you know, or any other times. Whenever you know, if you lose a man, it's having that structure. But listen, you can have whatever structure you want. It can become really, really difficult against that level of opponent, and that just didn't work for us this evening. So yeah, we just have to take our medicine.
Okay. Last one, please. Thank you.
Buenas noches, Brendan, Marco Braujos para Afición Deportiva. El Cholo tenía la sensación en el partido de ida de que con la expulsión de Rodrigo de Paul no pudo sacar un resultado mejor de Glasgow. No sé si usted tiene la misma sensación. Gracias.
Yeah, it was probably, I think the red card for Atletico Madrid in the first game was a lot later than what ours was. That's for sure. So, yeah, two different circumstances. I think the Atletico Madrid are seeing out the game right at the very end. We've lost a player at the very beginning of the game. So it's two totally different scenarios.
Okay, we'll take one more. Thank you.
Buenas, mister. Por aquí, David Pineros para Flash Score. Aquí en España estamos en un momento un poco crítico en el tema del arbitraje y el VAR. Yo le quería preguntar si usted tiene la sensación de que el VAR le quita independencia y autonomía al árbitro y si eso tiene la sensación de que también está sucediendo en otras ligas europeas y en Europa. Gracias.
Yeah, it's a very difficult one at the moment. I've always one has always been supportive of our officials and understanding that, you know, that they will make mistakes. And but I think as time has gone on, I think you see clearly now the influence of VAR and the difficulties that officials have, referees on the field. And that's why I'm saying it feels more like a computer game now, where there's a lot of judgments and decisions going on away from the field. You know, it's in a room somewhere, and like you say, I think the referee was correct in his decision on the field, but he gets influenced, and then of course he then changes his mind. So it's definitely a talking point. And again, it's not so much VAR because the technology is there, but how it's implemented and how it's understood, and the decisions with so many, probably more decisions now being in place. Definitely, the referees can be swayed. So it's not something that I'm enjoying. I think when it first came out, I was very much, you know, want to support it and hopefully it could improve our game, because I think everyone thought the utopia of having this VAR would mean that we would lose all these bad decisions that were in the game. But you could argue there's even more now. So yeah, it's something that I think there's a high percentage of it that can work well, but there's also a good percentage where it just doesn't feel right in the game.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Okay.